Welcome to Royal Secrets. He vanished from the royal spotlight and carved out a life far from the strict codes of monarchy. But now, he's back. Count Nikolai has returned to Denmark. And this time, the cameras are rolling, the stakes are higher, and the royal court has taken notice. But there's more. Behind palace gates, Queen Mary has been handed a series of secret and significant royal duties, and they're unlike anything she's done before. Is this a new royal beginning? Or is Denmark's royal family preparing for an internal reset? Welcome to our full investigation into the royal return of Count Nikolai and Queen Mary's powerful new role. Just when the Danish royal family appeared to settle into a new chapter under King Frederik and Queen Mary, an unexpected figure has stepped back onto the scene, Count Nikolai of Montpezat. Once a royal prince, now a stylish European aristocrat and fashion darling, Nikolai's re-emergence in Denmark has tongues wagging across the nation and beyond. What does his return mean for the royal institution that, not so long ago, stripped him of his title? Is it redemption, rebellion, or reinvention? Count Nikolai's arrival in Copenhagen came quietly. There was no grand procession, no official statement from the royal house. Yet, within hours, the news was everywhere. Paparazzi snapped him at the airport. Fashion insiders whispered about a secret event. Royal watchers speculated endlessly. Why now? But here's where things take an unexpected turn. At the same time, Queen Mary, who has spent years gracefully transforming into a symbol of Danish strength, was entrusted with a set of confidential yet significant royal assignments. Sources close to the palace describe these duties as sensitive, symbolic, and surprisingly political. So how do these two events intertwine? To answer that, we must go back to understand the tension, the loss, the royal strategy, and the quiet determination that has brought Denmark's monarchy to this electrifying moment. Count Nikolai is no ordinary royal descendant. Born Prince Nikolai of Denmark, he was the first grandchild of Queen Margrethe II. His early years were wrapped in royal protocol. He attended public royal events, dressed in miniature uniforms, and often stood at attention beside his royal cousins, including Crown Prince Christian and Princess Isabella. But behind the palace curtains, something was always different. Nikolai's father, Prince Joachim, has always taken a more distant route from the Danish throne, living in Paris, working in diplomacy, and encouraging a more modern and liberal upbringing for his children. This influence shaped Nikolai's outlook, an aristocrat who felt just as comfortable at a Paris Fashion Week runway as he did at a royal gala. Then came the bombshell. In 2022, Queen Margrethe made a decision that sent shockwaves through her family and the nation. She announced that 4 of her grandchildren, including Nikolai, would be stripped of their royal titles. They would no longer be princes and princesses, but counts and countesses of Montpezat. Many viewed it as a bold modernization move, others, as a harsh rejection of blood and tradition. Nikolai didn't hide his pain. He gave an emotional interview shortly after the announcement, admitting he was shocked and saddened. For someone who had spent his entire life walking the fine line between private citizen and public royal, it felt like an erasure. He disappeared shortly after. While the rest of the royal family adapted to the new reality, Nikolai charted his own course abroad, studying, modeling for luxury brands like Dior, and distancing himself from palace politics. But now he's back. His return wasn't ceremonial. It wasn't orchestrated by the royal press team. It felt personal, almost secretive. But according to royal insiders, it's no coincidence that Nikolai is back just as Queen Mary is being trusted with one of the most discreet and influential roles in the royal structure. The palace is changing, and Count Nikolai may be part of that plan, whether intentionally or not. Some speculate that Nikolai's return is timed with new projects inside the royal court, a kind of soft re-entry into public life. Others believe he's been invited back to test the waters, especially now that King Frederik has ascended the throne and Queen Mary's influence is quietly growing. Could Count Nikolai become a modern ambassador for a monarchy eager to appeal to younger Danes? Could Queen Mary be laying the groundwork for a new vision of the royal family, one that includes redemption? Whatever the case, his presence in Denmark right now cannot be overlooked. Not after everything that happened. While the media's cameras followed Count Nikolai's every move, something remarkable was happening behind the scenes. Queen Mary, the Australian-born commoner who won Denmark's heart and now stands as its queen, was called upon by palace officials to undertake a series of special royal duties. Unlike her traditional role, charity appearances, state dinners, and children's milestones, these new assignments carry deeper weight. Our sources have revealed that they involve quiet diplomatic engagements with Scandinavian allies, coordinating royal initiatives in response to growing public discontent with aristocratic privileges, reviewing the internal structure of royal patronages, potentially advising on family roles, including those of ex-princes like Nikolai. This last point has stirred particular intrigue. Is Queen Mary being positioned as the modernizer-in-chief of the Danish monarchy? And is she quietly orchestrating a strategy that could one day reintegrate Count Nikolai into royal life, albeit under a reformed banner? As one court insider stated, Queen Mary has become the monarchy's quiet strategist. Every move she makes is calculated, compassionate, and always in Denmark's long-term interest. Could her new assignments include helping Denmark's royals find common ground in an age that demands both tradition and transparency? As the news of Count Nikolai's return spread across Danish media, so too did a flurry of public opinion. Social media exploded. On Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram, hashtags like #NikolaiReturns and #TeamMary trended within hours. Some young Danes see him as a style icon, a rebel with class, a Gen Z noble with values. Others remain critical, questioning whether someone who walked away from royal life should now be welcomed back. The divide isn't just generational, it's philosophical. Older Danes, who support the Queen's modernization drive, often agree with the decision to remove the titles in 2022. Royal life isn't a right, it's a duty, one commentator wrote in Berlingske. But younger voices argue that Nikolai was unfairly treated, that he didn't ask to be born into royalty, nor to have it taken away. A viral comment on X read, "He was loyal, quiet, respectful. He never embarrassed the family. He was a perfect young prince. Why erase that?" And then there's Queen Mary, whose star continues to rise. Most Danes admire her, they trust her vision, and her latest assignments have been met with near universal praise. The idea that she could play a quiet role in mending internal family wounds only enhances her reputation. One Danish royal blogger posted, "Mary isn't just a queen. She's the crown's compass. If anyone can bring balance between past and future, it's her." Behind the royal glamour lies a stark truth. Monarchies around the world are struggling to stay relevant. The Danish royal family, one of Europe's most admired institutions, knows this better than anyone. That's why Queen Margrethe's title-stripping decision in 2022 was such a defining moment. It was about streamlining, about preparing for the future, about ensuring that only the working royals held the privileges and responsibilities of the crown. But what if, in doing so, something vital was lost? King Frederick and Queen Mary, who inherited this newly reshaped royal house, now face the challenge of uniting tradition with compassion. And Count Nikolai may be the perfect test case. Is it possible to bring him back, not as a prince, but as a new kind of royal figure? One who represents modern Danish values, international creativity, and familial loyalty? Or would that reopen old wounds? Count Nikolai and Queen Mary's powerful new assignments. In this episode, we uncover the truth about private palace meetings, growing tensions inside the royal household, and how Queen Mary might be rewriting the very rules of royalty behind closed doors. It was not on the official calendar. There were no press briefings, no photographers. But royal sources close to the palace say a discreet meeting took place between Queen Mary and her stepson, Count Nikolai, shortly after his unexpected return to Denmark. Held at Amalienborg Palace, the meeting reportedly lasted over an hour and was described as warm but cautious. What could they have discussed? Insiders speculate that it wasn't just a personal reunion, it was a moment of alignment. A private conversation to establish boundaries, share intentions, and possibly test the waters for future involvement. One source close to Queen Mary claimed, she sees value in Nikolai's presence. He's loved by the youth, respected in the fashion world, and he's never once spoken out against the crown in anger. She may not have supported the title removal, but she respects the system. Still, she knows that public perception matters, and so does family harmony. So, was this a motherly embrace? Or a royal negotiation? Whichever it was, it marked a new page in a complex family history. And it confirmed what many had suspected. Queen Mary isn't just performing ceremonial duties anymore. She's managing the future. For years, Queen Mary of Denmark was celebrated as the picture of grace, elegance, and duty. But now, a new portrait is emerging, of a woman who is quietly becoming one of Europe's most strategic royal players. Since King Frederick's accession, Mary's influence has increased tenfold. She's been handed responsibilities once reserved for reigning monarchs and senior statesmen. Here's what we now know about her special assignments. Internal royal reform. She is leading a private review of royal patronages, analyzing which engagements truly connect with modern Danes, and which should be retired. Youth engagement strategy. Queen Mary is reportedly overseeing a royal youth outreach project meant to connect the crown with Denmark's next generation. A role for Nikolai in this area would make perfect sense. Symbolic diplomacy. Though unofficial, her recent behind-the-scenes meetings with diplomats from Norway and Sweden signal a shift. Queen Mary is being used as Denmark's soft power ambassador. Family Harmony Task Force. Several sources confirm that Queen Mary has offered guidance to Countess Alexandra, Nikolai's mother, and Prince Joachim during moments of tension. The Queen, it seems, is stepping into the role of mediator. This isn't just ceremonial influence, it's institutional power. Let's talk about the rest of the royal family, especially the young royals who now find themselves in the spotlight. Crown Prince Christian, Queen Mary's eldest son and future King of Denmark, is just 18 years old. He's already shouldering growing public duties and has been carefully groomed for kingship since birth. By contrast, Count Nikolai, now 24, is the more experienced one when it comes to global affairs, travel, and public visibility, albeit in a more unconventional capacity. And despite their different paths, insiders say the two cousins maintain a respectful and warm relationship. But how does Princess Isabella feel? At 17, Isabella has emerged as one of the most charismatic young royals in Europe. She's been praised for her natural poise, her resemblance to Queen Mary, and her growing public confidence. When asked recently about family values at a school event, she replied, "I think families are strongest when we respect differences." Some saw that as a subtle nod to Count Nikolai, her half-cousin, once removed from the fold, now potentially returning. Even Count Felix, Nikolai's younger brother, has reportedly expressed interest in supporting royal causes, though not necessarily in an official capacity. It raises the question, are we witnessing the rise of a new kind of Danish royal cohort? One that blends public duty with private freedom. The Danish press, typically respectful and subdued in royal reporting, has been buzzing since Nikolai's reappearance. Major publications like BT and Extra Bladet have dedicated columns to dissecting his every move, from his discreet Copenhagen apartment to his rumored attendance at upcoming royal events. Public opinion polls suggest that over 61% of Danes view Nikolai favorably, and 48% believe he should be welcomed back into semi-official royal life, even if not reinstated as a prince. But not everyone is on board. A small but vocal group of royal traditionalists argue that once titles are stripped, they should stay that way. They worry that welcoming Nikolai back undermines Queen Margrethe's firm decision, a decision taken, in her words, for the long-term good of the monarchy. This tension is even reaching political circles. In recent weeks, several Danish parliament members have been asked whether the monarchy is sending mixed messages by engaging with former royals in public ways. Most remained diplomatic, but one politician, Lars Bjornsson of the Moderates, stated, "We support the monarchy because it is clear and consistent. If it becomes blurred with personal preferences, we lose its stability." This has only added more pressure on Queen Mary, whose role in royal planning is now undeniably political, even if unofficial. Countess Alexandra, Nikolai's mother and Prince Joachim's former wife, has rarely spoken publicly about royal affairs since the title scandal of 2022. But recently, at a charity event in Aarhus, she was asked about her son's return. Her response was brief, but powerful. "My son is Danish. He belongs here. That is all." Sources say that Alexandra and Queen Mary, despite years of awkward overlap, have developed a quiet understanding. Their shared commitment to their children and the crown has given them common ground, even if their royal journeys are worlds apart. This personal alliance could prove key in maintaining harmony inside the family, especially as public interest in Nikolai surges once more. Here's where things get interesting. Multiple sources within the royal circle have hinted that a new, unofficial role is being considered for Count Nikolai. While he would not return as a prince, or His Highness, he could be positioned as a royal cultural ambassador for Denmark's youth-focused charities, a non-working royal representative at art and design events, or even a special envoy for Nordic fashion and sustainability. Such a role would allow him to represent Denmark abroad, while maintaining his independence and avoiding constitutional complications. Insiders believe that Queen Mary herself is behind the push for this compromise. By giving Nikolai a public-facing title-less role, the royal family gets the benefit of his popularity, while preserving the reforms Queen Margrethe enacted. It would be a delicate balancing act, but one that reflects the modern monarchy's greatest challenge: how do you honor tradition without suffocating individuality? Count Nikolai's return has cracked open old wounds, but it may also open new doors. Behind palace gates, Queen Mary is quietly redrawing the map of Danish royalty. And if her vision succeeds, Denmark may soon have a monarchy unlike any other in Europe, fiercely modern, fiercely united and more human than ever before. Thanks for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe.